The tale of the tape in the main event for the light heavyweight world title and an advancement to the finals against Corey Anderson.
Real simply put, 14-2 for the champion in Nemkov, 10-1 for Anglickas. This is a matchup of two incredible fighters.
It is main event time. It is light heavyweight world title time. It is Michael C. Williams time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bellator MMA from Footprint Center here in Phoenix. The time has come to conclude the World Grand Prix semifinals tonight. Main event 5-minute rounds for the Bellator Light Heavyweight World Championship. Sanctioned by the Arizona Boxing and MMA Commission, Executive Director at Cageside, Carlo Becerra, Chairman Scott Fletcher. And now, first introducing the blue corner. At 6'3", weighing in 204 pounds even, near perfect as a professional, 10 wins, only 1 loss. Hailing from Lithuania, he fights out of St. Louis, Missouri. Introducing the challenger, Julius Anglickas. And across the cage, the champion tonight fights out of the red corner at 6 foot, weighing in 204.7 pounds in his second defense of his world title tonight. He enters with 14 professional victories, 2 defeats, fighting out of Stalihosko, Russia, the defending Bellator light heavyweight world champion, Vadim Nemkov. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge, Mike Beltran.
You could almost feel in the building, after being disappointed by Ben Henderson and Ryan Bader, the hometown hero, the fans are kind of rallying against Vadim Nemkov because they like the underdog story of that man, Julius Anglickas, fighting for that world light heavyweight world title belt you just saw.
Anglickas has never been in a position with this much pressure. Now that the fight started, he can release that and just be who he is. Let it go.
Nemkov's so disciplined, his lines so straightforward. Anglickas has been a very tough guy to touch.
He is, because he is very defense-oriented and very strict with his movements. He keeps his hands in a good position. Notice that his elbows come in tight. Doesn't overextend with anything. He is a very, what we call, tight fighter.
There you go. Left got through. This figures. Have a little more feeling out. The unfamiliarity between these two. Vadim Nemkov is fighting for something else, I hope.
Yep.
Close your hands, okay, guys? Ready, fight!
Go back and relax, baby.
As I said before, 99% of the time, too fast.
What causes that? Adrenaline, wanting to perform?
Yeah, wanting to get back. Oh, that was a beautifully clean right hand by Nemkov. That landed flush. That's what you, as the referee, he needs to be the guy that creates that time. Don't let him get back into the fight. Give him some time to clear his eye. Don't be in a rush, but this is what the pressure of a big fight will do.
That's it, don't reach. Bring your feet. Pinch him off.
Run for Nemkov is unbelievable. We're talking Anglickas got through with that one.
And this is what I love about Anglickas. Notice, he didn't rush in.
He didn't.
He's going to take his
Landed
time.
another shot. Now Nemkov knows he's there. Level change.
Smart move by Nemkov. Look at Nemkov didn't come from a wrestling background, but he's done all of his training with the Russian national team. He can wrestle, and putting a guy like Anglickas on his back says a lot, and this is a great place for him to recover.
COVID changed everything for everybody. What it did for Nemkov with gyms closed and all that, it basically forced him and his family closer. The only guys he sparred with were his brother Victor and Valentin Moldavsky, the interim heavyweight champion. That's a lot of what they worked on.
Not a bad guy to train with.
No.
When you're looking at a guy that good, too.
Disappointing a night as it is for Ryan Bader. Now we can start thinking ahead to that fight, too. We'll talk about it a lot more next week when the Bellator cage makes its debut in Moscow. There's Victor. The time that everybody had to get through it. We all got through it in our own ways. Affected these guys as well. So Nemkov took a couple of big shots that changed the direction of the fight. The level change, he brought Anglickas to the ground.
Nemkov landed a couple of big shots that hurt Anglickas, didn't put him down. Anglickas then returns with the one that does put Nemkov down. But Anglickas cannot stay in this position. Cannot keep his back on the mat. He's not going to win this fight here. He doesn't have the submission game to get Nemkov in a position where he can be in trouble. He's got to figure out ways of getting back to his feet like he's trying right now. Good job by Julius.
Right. Nemkov knows what the discussion is. He doesn't see his name mentioned among the elite 205s as much as he would like.
That's it.
All he has done, we talked about this win streak. 5 straight wins over world champions, and the one before that was against Philip Lins, who ended up winning a heavyweight tournament in the PFL. So, I mean, Nemkov has just knocked down all these pins in front of him. This extraordinary win streak. We're going to talk next week about the mother of all win streaks that Fedor had 10 years ago.
Right now, you're seeing Nemkov starting to take control of where this fight, as far as when the exchanges happen. He's the one controlling when it's happening. Julius has landed that one big shot. It's not enough. Oh, another one that he takes. It's not enough for him to just land that one big shot. He's got to land that shot and then come back and start building upon it. Letting his hands go. Right now, the speed of Nemkov is giving Anglickas some problem.
That left connected. Left jabs found a hole early in the round and late in the round.
That's it.
Just got everyone excited midway through the round by knocking the champion down. There's a big shot. Follows with the head kick. And the champion coming off the canvas here, just like Apollo did in the first round against Rocky.
Absolutely.
Finishes the first round strong.
Here's the big shot right here. Watch the right hand right on the button, and you see. Now, the big thing is take a look at the eyes of Nemkov. You can see that he gets rocked by this, but he quickly gets his eyes back on his opponent, which is telling you everything is there. The neurons are still connected. He got hurt, but he was still in a position to fight.
Right, because you don't see that very often with Nemkov, and you can see almost the surprise in his brother's face. There you see the damage it inflicted. It got everybody excited in the building. They're clearly pulling for the huge underdog here. That's natural. But if you look beyond the emotion of that first round, it looked like Nemkov got that first round, and there is the next opponent for the winner, Corey Anderson. I guess that's the winner's circle.
That's where you get to sit when you're the guy going into the finals.
You don't have a lot of work to be done on you after just taking 51 seconds to do your job.
Don't lean, just pop. Pop one good. One, you don't have to land. You just keep his hands up. That's it. Go. Be first. Look, body down.
That jab is finding its mark for Nemkov. There it goes again.
You gotta commit. Make the slam.
Right now, it's that speed factor is causing Anglickas some problems. Shots are coming faster than he's seen before.
Basically won that world title with that head kick and stunned Ryan Bader, and he finished him from there. Just joining us for the main event, Corey Anderson, a 51-second TKO of Ryan Bader in the first semifinal. He will fight the winner for the world title and the Grand Prix title, and $1 million that comes with it.
Notice you starting to see a break, and in the defense of Anglickas, his arms are starting to drop down as he's putting them out. That's leaving the openings for Nemkov. When he throws something out, it's got to come back on that same line, that same rail. If you're starting to swing it down and around, it's taking more time.
When Nemkov got stunned in the first round, he changed levels, he changed the direction of the fight. You can see that's what Anglickas wanted to do there. He paid the price. Nemkov in a pretty good spot here. He wants to step over, knee on belly.
Yes, he does. Nemkov got cut.
He did, and I'm not sure which shot did that damage, but potentially dangerous spot near the eye. We'll have to get a better look. Step up in competition. This is a dramatic step up for the challenger. Suddenly in positions where you've never been in before.
I'm seeing that in our ISO, we can see that the cut was caused by an unintentional clash of the heads. It was not a legal blow that caused the cut.
Which could be significant later if that cut becomes a bigger issue.
Again, Anglickas cannot stay in this position. He has got to start to open up, get those feet out of that closed guard position, start putting them on the hips, get an elevator. You've got to create space in getting yourself back up.
Always reminded of the Chris Rock line when you say that. He can stay in this position. You can drive a car with your feet if you want to. It doesn't make it a good idea.
It's maybe not being a really good idea.
Fans are behind this Cinderella story, but there's a reason he is a huge underdog here.
There's a reason it's called Cinderella's story too, is because those things don't happen all the time. And when you're going against someone as good as Vadim Nemkov is, who is only getting better himself, it's not an easy task to pull off.
Anglickas is older than Nemkov. You don't think about that. You also don't think about the fact he is clearly bigger than Vadim Nemkov. You see the two of them together, but high level of fights and the skill level difference has been on display through the first two rounds.
Huge difference in what's happening and what we're seeing this round. I honestly can't tell you, other than the headbutt, there's nothing that I've seen that Julius Anglickas has been able to land in this round. It has all been Nemkov.
Nemkov was the busier fighter in round one. Didn't do a ton of damage. Now he is just imposing his will. The first left elbow got through.
Big shot.
This is what we meant when you said you can't stay down there.
That's it.
Nemkov opening up, and Anglickas has to move.
Especially when Nemkov, you see him getting to his feet. Look, he learned from one of the very best ground and pound guys there was in Fedor.
These left elbows are getting through. Mike Beltran's taking a very close look. The underdog may not make it to the end of round two. He is holding on for dear life.
Now he is cut.
Nemkov doing major damage over the last minute.
Anglickas has taken a lot of damage. You can see on his face he's got some big old hematomas. He has taken some abuse. This is something we've never seen Julius have to go through in the Bellator cage.
Cinderella didn't look like that at the end of the ball.
No, she did not. But he's still in it.
The guy who taught me how to score fights would call that a 10-8 round. That's who I learned from.
That's why you are one of the most intelligent men we know in this sport, Sean Grant. That is a 10-8 round. There was too much offense from Nemkov and no offense really from Julius Anglickas.
I later learned that you pretty much stole everything from Josh that you learned, so it's really just passed down. Now Nemkov immediately goes for the level change. He is controlling this fight in every way you can control it.
You gotta really love the fight IQ of Nemkov and saying, hey, why am I gonna stay here where you have hurt me before? I'm gonna go back to where I have been very dominant in this fight. I'm gonna put you on your back and I'm gonna use ground and pound against you.
Левой рукой! Его левую руку возьми, давай! Одну ногу, да, законтролируй, и
Trying to think of the movie line where somebody says people die in storybooks all the time. You can't be more impressed with the win streak that Anglickas put together. There was a reason he was not, because he wasn't there yet to be in that top 8, to be in this tournament to begin with. Which doesn't mean he wouldn't be in a year or 2 or 3 years from now. He was on that progression.
Yeah, he just hadn't had enough experience, especially in the Bellator cage, to say you belong there when you took a look at the other guys that were put into the tournament. But then, you know, as the alternate, he was a great choice. And you can see by what he's doing. Look, he's a tough guy, and he's got a lot of skill. He just happens to be fighting possibly the best light heavyweight in the world right now.
One of the things we'll talk about next week as Fedor fights in his home country. The legacy Fedor is going to leave as a fighter is going to be unmatched in many ways. That winning streak will never be matched. He is on the Mount Rushmore forever. But when you combine that with the next generation that Fedor is grooming, I mean, this is going to be champion after champion after champion.
Yeah, you got to look at it, you know, when you talk about Fedor and the team that he's put together. He's the guy out there. He's training with these guys. He's coming to their fights. He's in their corners, and he has done a phenomenal job of building these guys up from the ground. Look into that armbar. One's not there. That again, it just kind of showed you the strength of Julius Anglickas at this point. He's still searching for it.
Anglickas holding on, but it's harder now. Fighters are slippery here as we go deep into round 3.
Let's get out of this.
Yeah, Nemkov's just going to go for it anyway.
Now he should stack him down. Do not try to stand up with it. Stack him down. Come around. He needs to keep circling around. That will help him as long as he keeps the pressure down on Nemkov. Do not let that arm get extended.
Tell people what you mean when you say stacking down.
Stacking means pressure straight down. If you come up trying to pull yourself out, you're straightening the arm forward.
And there is a moment where Nemkov wanted to go for it, and he actually paid a price for it. Not much of one, but... Vadim Nemkov knows he's the better fighter. He knows he's in control, but he wants to put on a show as well.
He's trying to go for the finish, and you got to love that, you know, as far as what he's doing. But you know, you could look and say, well, is he getting tired right now? No, he's not. He's the one controlling this pace. He can do this kind of stuff all day long because he's the one dictating how fast this fight is going.
Documented the Cinderella story of the challenger, but Vadim Nemkov's story tonight is he wants to take the word possibly out of the sentence you just said earlier about being the best 205er in the world.
Exactly. You know, that means a lot to him. You're looking and saying, when you're this good, and you have that target on your back, you've got to come up with things that are going to motivate you too. And what is it that I'm looking for? I'm looking to prove to everyone there's no one in my weight class that I can't beat.
Nemkov has been hunting that arm for the last 2 minutes. You know, he doesn't have great position, but he's just bound and determined.
He's got his toes caught in the fence right here. He's not trying to do it, but good job by Julius to just maintain the position, keep the pressure down on him. Don't let him extend the hips.
And I would say there were a lot of people who said, oh, Anglickas wouldn't take it this far, but that's not really the case because we thought it would be probably more difficult than it actually has been for Nemkov to do damage.
Yeah, we did because of, you know, looking at the way that Anglickas was able to be just defensively so tight against the opponents that we've seen him go against. You look, you said it's not going to be easy for Nemkov to land a ton of offensive blows that are going to start to take Anglickas out of his game and break down his defense. But really, he's been very good at doing that throughout the fight.
Lock it in, okay?
The movie he quoted earlier, at the end, all the challenger was trying to do was go the distance with the champion to prove he belongs, and that's almost where we are now. Can he survive the final 10 minutes?
And you can take a look. Look at the diaphragm right now as far as Vadim Nemkov. You see how it's not pumping in and out? What is that telling you? He's feeling pretty good.
Which, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, you saw him as an amateur. The first time I saw Vadim Nemkov in person was at Saitama Super Arena, the first ever Rising event. And he fought Yuri Prochaska, dominated the 10 minutes, and exhausted himself and couldn't continue.
Exactly. Did not understand how to pace himself in the fight. Did not understand when to step off of the gas and give yourself that break. Right now, my scorecard, I have Nemkov pitching a shutout right now. We'll see what Anglickas can do in this 4th round.
Anglickas had that little hope spot about 2 minutes into the first round, knocked Nemkov down. Since then, it's looked a lot like this.
And again, a lot of people don't like it. They want to see guys on their feet slinging bombs. This is called being intelligent if you're Vadim Nemkov. You're not being damaged in any fashion. You're not accepting any punishment. You're able to do damage to your opponent. What more do you want?
I think Nemkov is hunting for the finish there. I just think this is the way he thinks he's going to get it. He didn't have great position to get those armbar finishes in round 3, but he just was going to go
Still
for it anyway.
For it. Exactly.
I'm not sure that's not in our future here in the next minute or so.
Right now, what Nemkov needs to do is start to just push the pace a little bit more with this ground and pound. Start to change the position. Get to a better position than just being in the guard, or at least come up on top and start landing heavy shots and start to break the will of Julius Anglickas.
Pretty impressive that he hasn't yet.
It's so hard to explain to people out there the pressure that Nemkov is creating and how much, the shots that he's landed, how much value they have as far as the power. He's just starting to, turn it on with Anglickas. Now he's inside control. You can see knee on belly. He's looking to go to mount. Anglickas gets it to a half guard. He shut down that knee slice, but he's not in a better position. You see that forearm on the jawline. It's not comfortable. Traps the arm. Everything he's doing is beautiful.
At what point, if you're in the corner of the challenger here, are you thinking this fight can't be won?
Well, it's one of those, I always look for a corner to be smart with their fighters, because you can only get hurt so many times before it starts to change who you are as a fighter.
Nemkov has one arm trapped.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of what we call a gift wrap on there, holding that arm. And Anglickas has no offense at all. All he is doing right now is surviving. And this is when, as the corner person, you need to start thinking about, how much more am I going to allow my fighter to take?
There is still a bright future ahead for this tournament alternate. He earned this opportunity with a 9-fight win streak. He's just 30 years old. Big fights in front of him. This is not going to be his night.
No, this is now the 3rd round in a row where Julius has really not had any type of offense at all. And right now, if Nemkov wants, he could make that pass. He could slice. He's going for the Americana right now. Doesn't have it. He's trapping the arm.
1 minute, Julius. 1 minute.
And even though he's getting high right there, Anglickas doesn't have the energy to get him off.
You don't see him trying to buck up. You don't see him trying to make even moves to get back on his feet. He's trying to survive, and he's in trouble here.
He's looking for the straight arm lock. Trying to turn that over, put pressure on that. Hyperextend the elbow.
Tough to do it from that spot, but he has been pounding Anglickas for the last 20 minutes.
He can switch this up to an Americana. He just needs to separate the head from the shoulder area. Where his arms are at right now is not doing that. That's why you're seeing Anglickas be able to put up with that pressure. Nice Kimura.
Yeah, that's it. Vadim Nemkov dominated the fight. The only question was, could he get the stoppage he wanted? And he was not going to let go until he did. That's how you say, and still.
Overall, that was almost a perfect performance by Vadim Nemkov. He had the one shot that he took, put him on his butt. He was able to come back, get the takedown, and just basically manhandle a very good fighter from then on.
All he was doing, early second, early third, early fourth, get it to the ground and impose his will.
Yep. You know, it's so hard to express how good a fighter someone like Julius Anglickas is, and when you see someone dominate him in the fight. Beautiful job of finally getting that. Notice the separation of the head from that shoulder area. That's what makes it painful. Great Kimura victory. Great submission by Vadim Nemkov.
Michael C. Williams will put a stamp on this world title victory for Vadim Nemkov.
Ladies and gentlemen, the tap comes by way of a Kimura. Official time, 4 minutes, 25 seconds into round number 4. He is the winner by submission, now advancing to the finals in the light heavyweight World Grand Prix. He is still Bellator light heavyweight world champion, Vadim Nemkov.
9 straight wins, and he gets better and better with each one of them. The world champion, Vadim Nemkov, is with John McCarthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the world champion, Vadim Nemkov. You just defended your title in a just a fantastic performance overall. There was one moment in the fight that he landed a big shot. It put you down. How hurt were you?
Отлично провел бой, очень грамотно, но в первом раунде там был момент, когда он тебя ударил и повалил. Насколько ты был в это время поврежден?
Во время этого удара он меня просто сбил. Я не поплыл, нокдауна не было. Я чувствовал себя все хорошо. У Юлиуса очень крепкая голова. Я несколько раз хорошо попал. Он выдержал эти удары. Респект ему.
He said he caught me, but I wasn't knocked down. I just kind of fell. The reason I went more to grappling is because he's got a hard head. I hit him with a few good shots and realized it's not going to happen, so decided to go with the submissions.
From that point, you dominated the fight. I had you having a 10-8 round in the next round, and you just put on a clinic of using the takedown, being smart, not being damaged by a very strong and big man, and then you got the submission in the end. Were you always looking for that submission? Because it seemed like it with a couple of armbar attempts.
После этого момента ты доминировал, в принципе, весь бой в партере и в конце болевым его принял. Видно было, что ты эту кимуру пытался, в смысле, как бы именно этим болевым его закончить. Это так было или ты просто момент нашел?
Вначале я несколько раз попробовал сделать амбар, рычаг локтя. Но потом я ему показал, что буду делать рычаг, а сам сделал кимуру в обратную сторону. И это сработало. Это тренировочные наработки.
Yeah, I tried for a few arm bars, and he was slipping and kind of getting on top of me. So I decided, okay, next time we're gonna pretend to go for an arm bar, but really switch it to a kimura.
It was a fantastic performance. You kept the belt. You put yourself into the Grand Prix final against the man who won tonight in Corey Anderson. Corey, step on in here. This is the matchup for the finals of the light heavyweight Grand Prix. Corey Overtime Anderson against the champion Vadim Nemkov.
Let the countdown begin. Corey Anderson has earned his world title shot, and he is staring into the eyes of a dominant world champion right now as Vadim Nemkov wins his 9th straight. Josh, you and I were talking earlier in the day about this fight, about this championship fight, and the only question we had was, could Julius Anglickas last all 5 rounds with Vadim Nemkov because his defense was so good? And I think what we saw was just how good Vadim Nemkov's offense is.